There we go. Haha.
Hmm.
Hey everyone, I threw this in the comments. This is the group I'm referring to. This is the weekly video challenge for Self-Perfected. Right there. So last week we had, 40 some, 50 people from all around the world all come together talking about a topic of responsibility and really looking at what does it mean to live the word responsibility. Pulling it apart, seeing what it practically looks like, and even asking ourselves, like, why would you even, pay attention to that? Well, when you look at life, it's easy to think there's stuff outside of ourselves that like control us. Like, oh, there's this virus that came from Wuhan, and that is screwing up everything in my life. Or, oh, the president did something, or there's this law in place, or they're making everyone wear masks, or whatever the thing is that is beyond you. And that type of thinking will actually corrode and eat away at your own directive will. You have this phenomenal ability as a human to direct yourself and have an intention. It comes from your being. It comes from who you are at your core. However, if we're not intentional about it and able to breathe and really be here, and in a moment move ourselves to do the best thing, then we're basically living in a state of reaction. Now, I'm going to use those words, responsibility and reaction, very specifically. Have you ever, in your day-to-day, reacted to something? It probably happened multiple times today to you. There are different things in our reality that will pop up, and we'll react and basically go into a possession. Like it's a takeover on your emotions, your feelings, the energy within you, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, your mind is racing and you're not here anymore. Now, there's a shift that happens in everyone. Well, take that back. It doesn't happen in everyone. But for those that are serious about transforming oneself and really becoming the most effective version of yourself, there's a shift that needs to happen. I'll say it like that. Where you go from reacting and being just in general, like at effect from the environment, to then being able to, in any moment, have the ability to respond. Like really just see something coming at you, and instead of going immediately to like an automated behavior, it's like you can breathe and just be here, and then in that moment direct yourself. Well, what's the benefit of that? Let's make this practical. Let's say you have a spouse or you have an ex-partner because you broke up because you weren't actually a master of this. And picture they say something to you in that certain tone of voice that just gets under your skin, right? That is you basically. That's proof that you're basically a programmed robot, that you go into a energetic reaction based on what someone else says or a tone of voice, or it could be a whole variety of things. And is that what you want? Like, are you willing to settle for that? That someone else has that much power over you, that in one tone of voice or that one look or whatever they say, that you lose your peace and you stop being able to direct yourself effectively? Well, my guess is you probably aren't willing to settle for that. However, what do you do about it? Well, here's the alternative, is you start looking at your life and realizing you are 100% responsible, and you can take 100% responsibility. And that's all fine and dandy to say. I know a lot of people who are like, yeah, I'll take responsibility. I'm the authority of my life. But to actually live it is a little different, isn't it? So something that's been really, really helpful for me over the past couple of years has been putting myself around in environments and connecting myself with people where I'm not the smartest person in the room, or the most effective person in the room, but rather I'm with people who are willing to take that responsibility. Like, let's say you have a business deal and someone runs off with your money, or it doesn't turn out how you anticipated. I like to surround myself with people where in that moment where you realize it didn't go as planned, that you take ownership. It's like, it's so easy to try and cast blame on another person, but in reality, it was an agreement was formed, or maybe there wasn't an agreement. Either way, like, you're responsible for that. And so in there's like a little nuance here, because sometimes people think, oh, well, I'm 100% responsible, and I am, I chose to incarnate in this body, and I was like, from my past lives, I decided to be here, or whatever. Like, that's when you get off the deep end. And I'm sure you know people that are kind of like that, where it's not to say, like, if you had like a horrible childhood and you were abused, it's not to say you chose that by any means. Like, please, like, a child is helpless in a sense. Like, children are innocent and they come into this world that's all fucked up, and horrible things can happen. However, the responsibility does come in once you become aware of that. Of, you did have trauma in your life. You did have shit happen. But now you have this opportunity to take that responsibility and have that ability to respond. So when things come up, or you see that family member who used to, be an asshole to you or something like that, where in those moments you can breathe and choose to direct yourself, rather than just being directed by basically, and you could call it like an energy possession, really just like the emotions take you over, right? Because, okay, here's a question. Do you make more effective decisions when you're emotional? Or do you make more effective decisions when you have a sound mind and you're operating from principle? Which one do you want? Well, one of them is called being responsible. And in the moment, even if you do get pissed off, or you do, get overwhelmed, you breathe. You remember to be here. You apply self-forgiveness. And then you move forward and you direct yourself in the moment. So that is what responsibility looks like to me on a personal level. Now, there's one other point I want to bring up, is what does responsibility look like in the current state of the world? I talk a lot about this, but it's worthy of repeating. When we look at the current state of the world, for example, I just made a post here on Facebook. I'll probably catch some flack for it, but it's true. It's explaining the amount of deaths that are attributed to COVID. And then it explains the amount of deaths that happen every single year from starvation. And it's way more with starvation. Now, in an ideal world, neither of those are a thing, where we have the right healthcare and everyone has, proper nutrition so we can be effectively supported so we don't have disease, right? And when we really understand where disease comes from, we'll get into that in a future video. But we have a world where everyone's effectively supported. So that's what I'm here, and that's what I'm taking responsibility for. Because I'm old enough, I'm wise enough, I have enough connections and enough understanding. It's like I took the red pill. I can't undo it. So now I see the current state of the world and how bad it is. And instead of subscribing to the camp, the belief, the illusion of people thinking, oh, everything is just energy and we're just here temporarily and there's a better place we go after we die and we're just here to learn a lesson, or whatever bullshit illusion that people subscribe to. Rather, let's look at what's practically here and who am I within it. Am I the kind of person who's just going to abdicate and not take responsibility? Say, oh, well, yeah, I mean, I know all these kids die, but like, who am I to do anything about it? Oh, I know all these kids die, but like, you can't possibly feed everyone in the world. Like, that's just utter bullshit. Like, you just accepted that, but it's cool because now you're watching this and you have the opportunity to change. But that's going to be your responsibility, right? I'm taking responsibility to make this video, to share this, and now you can take responsibility to actually change and join us. Because is anyone else here fed up with all the bullshit in the world in terms of people blaming the elite, blaming, oh, Jeff Bezos is so rich, why doesn't he just solve the problem? Or, oh, Bill Gates is doing this and that, or Trump did this, or Biden did this, or whatever. It's like that's a covert way of basically not taking responsibility, when in reality it's right in front of your eyes. This is what you can do. You can connect with us within the self-perfected group. We call it that for a reason. It is about self-perfection. It is about truly becoming the best version of yourself. We really mean it. The group is the real deal. It was created by myself and 3 to 4 others, and it's been going now almost a year strong. It is the best group in the world in terms of Facebook groups. And what we're here to do is take responsibility for how fucked up the world is so that we can actually create a world that's best for everybody. We do that through operating from principles. One of those principles is self-responsibility. And now just ask yourself, are you around people on a daily basis that actually inspire you? Are you around people on a daily basis that you actually like, that you're friends with? Do you have friends that push you and challenge you? Do you have friends that take responsibility? Do you have friends that ask questions like, damn, how am I responsible for the problems in the world? Like, I suppose I do use money. Yeah, I do, pay for Amazon Prime. I suppose I am kind of allowing this system. And it's not to say stop using money or cancel your Amazon membership or whatever. But it is to say, let's look at practically what's here. Let's use common sense, still use money. You can still, eat food and live in your house and use your electricity or whatever, but it's your starting point that's what matters. Because imagine this. Imagine you get to the end of your life and you get confronted with that question, wow. And you realize, wow, I allowed all the rape in the world. I allowed all the abuse in the world. I allowed suffering, poverty, violence. I allowed all that. This is where you get to really see who you are. Are you willing to look at that of how are you responsible for all the shit in the world? Because we're all collectively responsible for it. But you as an individual, it starts with you taking that responsibility, walking the process, applying self-forgiveness, getting connected to the right tools and the right networks so that you can actually see the solutions that we have for this. Because the solutions are here. It's not like we're guessing. I'm not searching anymore. I'm here because I know what to do. And part of that involves finding like-minded people who are willing to take responsibility, especially people who are really fed up with the current world as it is. Because there's probably going to be another lockdown. There's probably going to be another virus. There's probably going to be a lot more economic upheaval. And I mean, the whole system's collapsing right in front of us. So are you willing to just wait till it gets so shitty and we're stuck in our freaking homes? And are you willing to just wait for that until it's too late? I've been talking a lot with a few people about this concept of, it's called neo-feudalism, just a fancy way for talking about feudalism. It's like a new level of it. Feudalism was back in the well, I guess what would it be? It was like around the Dark Ages and the Enlightenment time, where there were serfs and people and peasants basically who would work in the fields. They would do all the labor, and then there was kings, and then the ruling class. And those who were doing the labor, they also fought in wars, right? That's feudalism, where there's an extreme disparity between the common person and the super elite. Well, when was the last time you looked at the state of basically the average 100 people you spend the most time around? And then you look at Jeff Bezos in that magazine cover, or you look at Mark Zuckerberg, or these people living lives that you can barely even fathom. Have you ever ridden in a private jet, private helicopter? Right? That's how they're living. And the rest of us are basically enslaved. Some are high-paid slaves. Some are working to actually change the system so slavery doesn't have to happen. But that's what's here, and it's going to keep getting worse. If you see what's happening right now with all the lockdowns and what that's doing to the middle class especially, it's fucking it up. It's bad. So, who's responsible? We all are. And I'll start first with myself. So, this is my ability to respond to the current situation that's happening, and how I'm acting that out is by talking about this, by starting conversations, by connecting with like-minded people, helping people get access to tools that can fundamentally change their lives. That's what I'm about. I'll have many more videos to come. But I want to see from you, one, what does responsibility mean to you? And two, when you look for a group of people that you want to spend your time around, what are you looking for? So one, leave in the comments. One, what does responsibility mean to you? And two, when you're looking for like-minded people or a group of people, what is it that you're really looking for? We definitely appreciate a comment. If you found any value from this, please share it, because we live in a world where people are turning hopeless and desperate. It's getting bad, and it's going to keep getting worse straight up. And so what's your responsibility within it? Bye, everybody.